2019 was another season full of action and tension in TCR Europe. It all started at the Hungaroring with a record entry of 37 cars for a total of 7 different manufacturers. On a track where overtaking isn't easy, young Belgian Gilles Magnus, debuting in touring cars, showed some nice moves, while Matto Homola converted his pole position into victory in front of Josh Files and another touring car rookie, Nelson Ponciatici, driving for M Racing, Ivan Muller's team. Race 2, and under light rain which made the track very tricky, Magnus, Julien Brichet and Dusan Borkovic thrilled the spectators with a tight battle for second, which finally saw the French driver come out on top. 2 laps later, Brichet overtook the local hero Danny Nage for the lead. Brichet took the win in front of Magnus and Nage, but with Magnus taking the lead in the standings in front of Ponciatici, there were 2 touring car rookies on top after the first event. Some fierce battles livened the first race at Hockenheim. On the second lap, no fewer than 8 cars arrived side by side into turn 6, battling for 8th place. With almost everybody touching somebody, Gianni Morbidelli and Matto Homola were those who suffered the most, going wide and losing positions. There were no mistakes for Josh Files during the entire race, and so the first win of the season for him, with Luca Engstler second and Maxime Potti third. After a difficult touring car debut at the Hungaroring, Uruguayan Santiago Urrutia started to feel more at ease in his Audi. This was when he took 5th from Potti in race 2. Brichet grabbed his second win of the season in front of compatriot Aurelien Comte and Sweden's Jessica Beckman, who stepped onto the TCR Europe podium for the first time, while Josh Files took the lead of the championship with a 5-point advantage over Brichet. 2 men dominated race 1 in Spa. Gilles Magnus started from pole and Santiago Urrutia started second, both driving an Audi RS3 LMS. On lap 5, the Uruguayan overtook the Belgian into La Source, but only for a few seconds. Magnus was quickly leading again at the exit of the corner as the field headed down to Eau Rouge. With Brichet, who crashed in his Peugeot heavily during free practice and retired after only 1 lap, and Files completing only 4 laps, the championship lead changed hands. For Gilles Magnus, it was his first win of the year, while Urrutia was second in front of Potti. The second race was then a Brichet masterclass. Starting 5th, the Frenchman quickly started to move up. This was when he took 3rd from Homola on lap 3. And this was 3 laps later when he took the lead from Borkovic, who was then hit from behind by Jimmy Claret. The Serbian spun and his race was effectively over. On the last lap, Tom Coronel was hit from behind at Raidillon by Luca Filippi. The Dutchman crashed heavily into the barriers, and luckily everyone managed to avoid the stricken Honda. Brichet once again confirmed his role as king of the reversed grid, grabbing his 3rd consecutive race 2 win. He also took the lead of the championship with a 13-point gap over Magnus and 24 over Comte. Things dramatically changed for Brichet in the following event at the Red Bull Ring. Starting from 17th on the grid, the Frenchman suffered an engine failure and instead of stopping the car, he tried to carry on, blowing his engine completely. 3 laps into the race and Martin Reber hit Santiago Urrutia, sending him into a spin and triggering a pile-up that involved Davidovski, Jessica Beckman, Kangas, Comte and Teddy Claret. Luckily no one was injured. On the penultimate lap, a superb battle for 3rd thrilled the spectators. Dan Lloyd's Honda challenged Ponciatici's Hyundai in a very aggressive but clean way, and in the end he managed to pass the Frenchman. After starting from pole, Files won from Filippi and Lloyd and retook the lead in the standings because none of the drivers who were placed on top of the classification before the race scored points. Race 2 was one of the most spectacular of the season, and the duel between Filippi and Engstler was the cherry on the cake. This was the aggressive way the Italian overtook the German on lap 11. This was how it dramatically ended on the last lap. Filippi went a little wide, Engstler took the inside line and touched the Italian, who lost control of his Hyundai, spun and crashed into the barriers. Luca Engstler grabbed his maiden win in TCR Europe in front of Files and Morgan, and so moved up to 2nd in the drivers' standings. At Oschersleben in race 1, Dan Lloyd took the checkered flag in 3rd place, but later he was promoted to 1st. Andreas Beckman was excluded after his car was found to have an irregular front end, and Ponciatici, 2nd at the finish, was given a 30-second penalty for a collision with Jessica Beckman. In the second race, Potti spun after making contact with Matto Homola. The Belgian would rejoin, but wouldn't score points, and the Slovakian driver would retire, dropping down to 4th in the drivers' standings. Alex Morgan snatched his first TCR Europe victory, and Josh Files, with 60 points scored over the weekend, and all the others struggling, increased his series lead to an impressive 78 points. In the first race at Barcelona, championship contender Enschler went wide on lap 6, and his ambitions for the title evaporated. Brichet and Files took the checkered flag in first and second positions, but after the race they were both penalised, and so the win went to Andreas Beckmann. In the second race on lap 7, Brichet easily overtook Jack Young's Renault Megane for third. For Dan Lloyd, it was a lights-to-flag win. Magnus was second and Brichet third. The Frenchman scored 30 points more than Files over the weekend, keeping alive his hopes for the season finale. In Monza, for the last event of the season, Files struggled in qualifying, while in the opening race he managed to finish on the podium. This was when he overtook Urrutia for third. But with Brichet winning the race in front of Comte for a Peugeot 1-2, the British driver was still unable to celebrate. In the very last race of the season, Files, starting second on the grid, took the lead on the opening lap when he overtook Maxime Potti. But Brichet, starting from 9th, was on a mission. He moved up lap after lap, and on lap 8 he passed Lloyd for second, giving Files no room for error. Tension was high right until the last lap, with Brichet doing his best to put pressure on Files. But the Brit was calm enough to control the situation and took the win, his third of the season, and so secured the title. In the final driver standings, Brichet finished second, while Urrutia, after a consistent weekend in Monza, managed to secure third place.